Hi everybody, this video covers section 4 of chapter 5, the addition and subtraction of polynomials. In this video we will talk about adding polynomials, subtracting polynomials, and simplifying expressions by removing grouping symbols and combining like terms. Now polynomials are added by finding and combining like terms. And like terms are terms that are constant or contain the exact same variable raised to the exact same exponent. For example, these constant values, they are all like terms, even if they have fractions or decimals. These are also like terms because they have the same variable x and it's raised to the exact same power. And these are not like terms because even though they have the same variable, they cannot be combined. So let's see how we can use these ideas to actually add polynomials. And here is our first example, a rather tough one. We actually have 3 polynomials that we need to add. And the way we're going to do this is basically by an accounting method. We are going to collect all of the terms, all the like terms, one by one. And we're going to take all like terms one by one and group them together, and then we're going to add them up. They're going to add up each like term by like term. Okay, so notice this is our first term. It is an x to the cubed power. So we want to take all the terms with x to the third in it, and that would be 5x cubed, and then 4x cubed over here. Once I've done that, I'm going to draw a line through these just to remind myself that I've dealt with them. Next, I'm going to look at all of the terms with the x squared variable in it. So that would be minus 8x squared, minus 2x squared, and that appears to be it. And now we're going to look at the x terms. There we have 12x. We have minus 5x. And then finally we deal with the constants. We have plus 13, minus 8, plus 14. Okay. Now we can combine all of the like terms. Here we have 5x cubed plus 4x cubed. That is 9x cubed. Here we have negative 8. Here we have negative 8x cubed minus 2x cubed. That is minus 10x cubed. 10x squared, I apologize. That's a square there. Here we have 12x minus 5x. That is positive 7x. And here we have 13 minus 8, which is 5, plus 14, which is 19. And that is the sum of those 3 polynomials, 1, 2, 3. And notice how we did this by basically grouping all of the like terms together and then adding them up. Okay, now this example is more representative of what you will see in your homework. Now notice we have 2 different terms. We have 4 different terms. We have this polynomial that has 2 terms and this polynomial that also has 2 terms. So we're adding 2 binomials. And so once again we are going to group them by like terms. Here we have an 8x and a 2x. So that will be 8x plus 2x. And here we have a minus 7 and a minus 5. And once again, we can combine the 8x and the 2x to become 10x. And then the minus 7 minus 5 will become minus 12. And that would be our answer. Next is another binomial. We have one term, we have one set of terms that has x squared in it, and the other set of terms that are constant. And once again, we're just going to group them together. Here we have 4x squared. And notice how I line them out just so I can keep track of my terms here, because this is really a major accounting exercise, for lack of a better term. And here we have 9x squared. Then we have 2 plus 1. Once I've done that, then it's easy to combine the like terms. Here's one set of like terms, 4x squared minus 9x squared. That will be negative 5x squared. And then 2 plus 1 is 3. Oh, I forgot the minus sign. There's the minus sign. And there you go. That's the answer. So that's how we deal with adding polynomials. Our next task is going to be deal with subtraction of polynomials. And the way that is going to work is we are going to change the sign of every term in the second polynomial, and then we're going to add up what we have. Now, just to give you an idea of how this works, let's suppose that I want to subtract x squared plus 3 from negative 2x squared plus 4. How do we do that? Well, once again, I'm going to basically change the sign of every term and then add them up. So that's going to be x squared plus 3. Now I'm going to and I'm now changing the sign of the 2x here. That's going to give me minus 2x minus 4. I'm sorry, this should be 2x squared. I apologize. And now I can combine terms. X squared minus 2x squared is negative x squared. Or actually, let me do this step by step. Now that I've done this, I can continue on with my addition. First, I want to group the like terms together. That'll be x squared minus 2x. Those are like terms. And then we have 3 minus 4. 2x squared. I keep on forgetting the x squared there. Plus 3 minus 4. Then x squared minus 2x squared is negative x squared. 3 minus 4 is negative 1, and that would be our answer. But let's look at this let's look at this in terms of about 3 examples. Okay, well, here's our first example. Rather long polynomial, but once again, we want to change the sign of each of these terms here, and then we want to add them up. So we are going to start off with 9x to the 4th minus 22x cubed plus 3x squared plus 10. Now, once again, we're going to change the sign and add. So here we have 5x to the 4th. We're going to change that to minus 5x to the 4th. Here we have negative 2x cubed. We're going to change that to positive 2x cubed. Here we have minus 5x squared. We're going to change that to positive 5x squared. Here I have a positive x. I'm going to change that to negative x. Now we can combine like terms. Oh, and I made a mistake here. This should be a 5x to the 4th, not 5x squared. So we have 9x to the 4th minus 5x to the 4th. So let me be taking care of these. Now we have 22x squared, 22x cubed plus 2x cubed. Okay, so we've taken care of those. We have 3x squared plus 5x squared. And we've gotten those taken care of. We have a negative x all by itself. And then we have a positive 10. And now we can combine like terms. Here we have a 9x to the 4th minus 5x to the 4th. That's just 4x to the 4th. So that takes care of that. Here we have a negative 22x cubed plus 2x cubed. That will be minus 20x cubed. Here we have a 3x squared plus 5x squared. That is 8x squared. Minus x plus 10. And that is our answer. Okay, now for a couple of problems that are closer to what you'll see in your homework. Here is the subtraction of two binomials. So once again, we write down x squared minus 5, negative x squared minus 5 squared. I'm sorry, negative x squared minus 5. And now for the second polynomial, we change the sign and add them and just add it to the first polynomial. So that'll be minus 3x squared minus 9. Now we can group the like terms. That'll be minus x squared minus 3x squared, and then minus 5, and then minus 9 for the constant terms. Now x squared minus 3x squared, well, that is just simply 4x, negative x squared minus 3x squared, that is just simply negative 4x squared. And then minus 5 minus 9 is just simply minus 14. And there you go, that's it. And then the last one we have in this set of examples is negative 2x squared plus 7x minus the quantity negative 6x squared plus 4x. Once again, we just write down the first polynomial, which is, whoops, hang on, there we go. Negative 2x squared plus 7x, and then for the second polynomial, we change the sign and add it to the first. So that'll be plus 6x squared minus 4x. Grouping the like terms, where you're going to have negative 2x squared plus 6x squared, and then plus 7x minus 4x. Okay, now we can combine our like terms. Here we have negative 2x squared plus 6x squared. That is 4x squared. 7x minus 4x is 3x. And there you go. That's how that one is done. Now, the last topic for this particular lesson is simplifying algebraic expressions. And for this, we basically need to remember two things. The first one is PEMDAS, which we talked about in the last video briefly. We're going to talk about in just a bit more detail here, and you've probably heard in previous math courses. Of course, it describes which operations we should do first and which ones we should do last. And we should always basically deal with our grouping symbols first. Once we've dealt with those, we can deal with the exponents. We can simplify any terms that have exponents to the best of our ability. Then we can deal with multiplication and division. And then finally, we deal with addition and subtraction. However, there are occasions when you will actually have more than one grouping symbol, and you will actually have grouping symbols that are nested. As an example, take a look at 3 plus x times 4 plus 5 times the quantity x squared plus x cubed. Okay, well, first we want to deal with the innermost grouping symbol, which is this right here. And that would give us 5x squared plus 5x cubed, and then 4 plus, and now we're left with this grouping symbol, times x plus 3. And now we can deal with the outer grouping symbol, and that would give us 3 plus, and then using the distributive property, that would be 4x plus 5x cubed plus 5x to the fourth, and that's how we would simplify that polynomial. So let's look at a couple of examples, and here is our first one. It is negative 3 times the quantity x minus 4 plus 2 times the quantity x plus 3 times the quantity x minus 3. Once again, we want to deal with this term first, and that would be 3x minus 9. Then we will have our x plus, all this is multiplied by 2, plus, and then we have negative 3 times the quantity x minus 4. Now we can go ahead and deal with the other two grouping symbols. So for this one, we will have negative 3 times x, which will be negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 4 will be positive 12. And now distributing this, we will have plus 2 times x, which would be plus 2x. I actually could have combined these beforehand. 2 times 3x will be plus 6x. And then 2 times minus 9 will be minus 18. And now I can combine like terms, or I can group like terms. We will have negative 3x plus 2x plus 6x plus 12 for the constants, and then minus 18 for the constants. Now, negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1, plus 6 is 5, so we will have 5x And then 12 minus 18 is negative 6. We should have 5x minus 6. A couple of problems which will look a lot like your homework problems. Here is one that we need to simplify. And then once again, this is subtraction. So we need to, in this particular case, we're going to start off with the first polynomial. And we're going to add to it the, we're going to flip the signs of the second polynomial and add that to this. So we have a negative 7x. That will become positive 7x squared. And here we have negative 5x. That would become positive 5x. Now we can group up the like terms. We will have 7x squared. That's by itself. Then we have a plus 3x plus 5x. And then we have a minus 7. And that will give us 7x squared plus 8x minus 7. For our next problem, we actually have a trinomial and a binomial added together. So for this one, once again, we will group like terms. We have a negative 2x squared. And I forgot to do this part. And then we have two terms with just an x in it. So that'll be a plus 8x. There you go. Plus 8x. And then we have a minus 8, minus 5. And then combining like terms, we have negative 2x squared by itself. Here we have 8x plus 8x, that will be 16x. And here we have negative 8 minus 5, which is minus 13. Now, how can you tell when a polynomial is simplified? Well, the way you can tell is when there are no more like terms to combine. Here we have 3 different terms, and each term is not a like term. So none of them can be combined. So none of them can be combined. So in this particular case, this is simplified. Now, for our last problem, before we move on over to the Hawks, let's take a look at this one. This one actually happens to be one of the last problems in your homework. So here we are adding together 3 polynomials. We're adding 2 trinomials and then a binomial. But the approach is just the same. What we're going to do is we are going to group our like terms. And in term for x squared, we have an x squared and a minus 4x squared. For x, we have a positive 8x, a negative x, and then a positive x. And then for our constant terms, we have a positive 5, a negative 5, and then another negative 5. Now we can actually add our like terms. If we do, we will have negative x squared minus 4x. That's negative 3x squared. We have x squared, 8x squared minus x plus x. No, I'm sorry, we have 8x minus x plus x. That is just 8x. And then 5 minus 5, which is 0, minus 5 is minus 5. And notice that now we have no more like terms that we can combine. So this has to be the answer. So that is all I have as far as the lecture portion is concerned. Give me a second, and then we will start on with Hawks. Okay, so here we are. This is lesson 5.4. Let's actually start a practice session. And here's our first problem. 4x minus 8 plus negative 2x plus 5. Once again, we just combine, we just group up our like terms. We have a 4x, a minus 2x, then we have a minus 8 and a plus 5. Now 4x minus 2x is 2x, negative 8 plus 5 is minus 3, and that should be our answer. Okay, moving on. Here is a subtraction problem. Here we have negative 3x plus 6. And then we are going to subtract negative 9x minus 2. Now, so basically we're going to change the sign of these two terms and add them. So that will give us negative 3x plus 6. Changing the sign for the negative 9x, that will be positive 9x. And then changing the sign for negative 2, that'll be plus 2. Now we can combine our like terms. We will have a negative 3x plus 9x for one like term, and then 6 plus 2 for the other. Negative 3x plus 9x is 6x, and 6 plus 2 is 8. Okay, moving on. Okay, let's take a look at this one right here. Here we have negative 8x minus 1 plus 7x squared plus 3x. Okay, so let's actually group up our like terms. We have one term with an x squared in it, 7x squared. We have another term we have two terms with an x in it. We have minus 8x and then plus 3x. And then we have a minus 1. Okay, well there's nothing to combine here, so we just have 7x squared. Negative 8x plus 3x is going to be minus 5x, and then we have our minus 1, and that should be our answer. So to type that in, it would be 7x hat squared, then I can use the right arrow to get out of that, minus 5x minus 1. And there we go. Okay, let's look at this problem. For this one, we have negative 3x squared, no, negative 3x minus 2, minus 2x squared plus 8x. Now, once again, since we're subtracting, we are going to bring down the first binomial, minus 3x minus 2, and we're going to add to it, we're going to change the sign of the terms in the second binomial and add them. So the changing the sign of 2x squared is minus 2x squared, and then changing the sign of 8x is minus 8x. And now we can add them, and we're going to do this by grouping up the like terms. So the first term is negative 2x squared. There's no other term there. We have two terms with x's in it. That'll be minus 3x minus 8. And then we have minus x, and then we have minus 2. Okay, now there's only one negative 2x squared, so we'll just put that there. We have a minus 3x minus 8x. We combine those to negative 11x, and then we just have 2 by itself. So 2, and that should be our answer. And there you go. Okay, and let's take a look at this one last problem. This is where we actually are going to combine 3 polynomials. First one is ax squared minus 13a plus 2. I'm sorry, a squared minus 13a plus 2. Plus 4a squared minus a minus 3 plus a plus 7. Now, since everything is addition, we don't need to worry about changing signs and adding. So instead, we just need to group our like terms. And we have an a squared, and then we have a plus 4a squared. All right. Then we have a minus 13a, a minus a, and then a plus a. And then we have a 2, a minus 3, and a plus 7. All right, now we can combine our like terms. A squared plus 4a squared is just 5a squared. Minus 13a minus a plus a is just negative 13a. And then 2 minus 3 is negative 1, plus 7 is 6. And that should be our answer. And there we go. And that is all I have for this particular video. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And this is Bob Boyle, signing off.